sucks so bad. So tell me, why does that be hurt? Why does that be hurt like that? Girls, every single one of them around the world. Sorry if you think they can. Sorry if it makes you mad. Sorry. Girls are girls, they can't be boys. Every single one and they don't have a choice. Sorry if you think they do. Sorry if you hate the truth. Sorry, that's just stupid. I feel like it's time somebody said it. Is he just...
All right, we are here with Dom. He is known as My Friends Call Me Dom on Spotify. He's a Christian music artist based out in Tennessee. And you heard some of the music in the intro. His song, Boys Are Boys and They Can't Be Girls, is really good. And it's been getting thousands of plays on Spotify. So we reached out, and we're so blessed to have you here and being able to do an interview. How are you doing today, Dom?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have actually been in music for a long time. You're kind of out on your own now. So tell us a little bit about your venture into music and a little bit about your faith, because I know that that's been a part of your adventure into music as well.
Yeah, I started a band with my brother. I was 17 and he was 14 at the time. And it was called Loftland, and we had some of our best friends playing bass and drums, and my brother played guitar, and I wrote the songs and sang. And we did that for about 10 years. And over those 10 years, it went from being just a garage band to a local band, and then regional, and then national. And we just had a chance to tour the country and play songs for people all around. And we did a lot of youth groups and a lot of big Christian festivals, things like that. And that's kind of the story behind that. And through the band, each of us met our wives, and slowly people were getting married and kind of getting picked off and leaving the band. And the same, for my brother and I, and my wife and I, get married, and she actually toured with us for about a year, maybe a little over a year. And she's a great songwriter and singer and, keyboard player. So she did that with us. And then we kind of put the band, off to the side and stopped doing that. And her and I moved to Nashville. And we spent a few years in Nashville, about 6 years, as touring musicians. And we did merchandise, on some big tours for other artists, and started having kids. And then as we started having kids, we were looking back to home and thinking, we should move back. We should be near our family and put down some roots. And so we did that about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago now, and moved back. And my dad and I built the house and put a studio here in the house and just started writing songs again.
Oh, that's awesome. So I ran across your stuff on Instagram, the Reels, and we were able to reach out. You said you played a lot of festivals. Now, when I was in high school, I used to go to a festival called Sunshine out in Wilmer, Minnesota. Did you ever play at that one? You did?
I'm familiar with that one.
Okay.
I don't remember if we played. Yeah, Sunshine in Minnesota. Yeah. We did.
Yeah, I used to make the foray out there every year. We'd camped in tents and went to. It was awesome. My younger years, I couldn't do that now, but it was great.
We did a lot of sleeping on floors and overnight driving, and I can't imagine doing anything like that again.
So you touched on this a little bit, but so what caused you to kind of head out on your own? So right now you're just kind of producing music in your house, and you're just what drives your musical aspirations right now?
I love music. I feel like I can't stop writing songs. I look at the world and I just, I don't know, constantly inspired, constantly chewing on things, and mulling them over in my head. And so I write a lot of songs that are just, like love songs for my wife, or things that are more fun. I write songs, for my kids, and around the house, we just call those the fam jams, and so last summer just started releasing some of these songs I was writing, and we were just having a good time writing them and listening to them. And that's really it. I just can't stop.
Yeah. God's giving you a gift, and you're just out there doing it, and that's awesome. So let's get to the song that brought us two together in this conversation. It's "Boys Are Boys and Girls Are Girls." We played a little bit in the intro to this interview. What made you want to write this song? Did you have any fear in publishing a song like this? Because there could be significant blowback. We get significant blowback when we talk about gender and things like that at FreeThinking Ministries. So we speak to that, just like, how did that process come about? And was there any fear that came with it?
Yeah. Initially, I wrote the chorus and I just showed it to my wife, and we kind of laughed about it. I said, "Can you imagine?" And we laughed. And I remember that was toward the end of the day, one night, and I had showed her, and we slept on it. And I woke up the next day and listened back again to this little demo I had made, and the whole chorus was just kind of there all the way up to the stupid part.
Yeah.
And and I was like, actually, this is kind of a great song. And she said, yeah. And she was the one that came up with the tagline, "The Stupid," and that melody. And after that, I thought, this is it. Like, we're definitely going to do it. I wrote it because it's true, and it's funny because it's true, and people are angry because it's true. So everything that it's doing is just because it's true.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that it's catchy, and I don't feel like I've said anything that there's plenty of talking heads saying this. Plenty of people with common sense and their head on straight, and they're saying this all over the place and getting all kinds of pushback. But if you can make it catchy and funny, I think there's maybe some more potency to it.
Yeah, that's great. And I love it is catchy. I love the lyrics. There's also there's just some philosophy that's in here too that I think is really riveting. So I want to talk about some of the lyrics. In your first verse, so you start with the chorus, which is great, and then you kind of bring it down to first verse, and in part of that you say, "Never thought we'd face these kind of problems that a little common sense can't seem to solve. God help us all." I thought that was, I think that speaks to a lot of just the everyday person, where they're going, how did we get here? Is that what you're conveying there? It's kind of like, hey, I just like you, I don't even know how we got here, right?
Yeah, I think that's the sentiment that most people are resonating with and trying to express. I see all the same sort of thing that everyone sees. I see people at school board meetings who are just baffled and outraged and wondering, how on earth did we get this far? Why is this kind of thing in our library? Why is this kind of stuff being taught to our kids? I see all this stuff out in culture, and I'm just trying to take what I'm hearing and inject that.
Yeah, it's kind of honestly, it's what great artists used to do. Back in the day, to look at culture and say, hey, this is broken. Some of them were wrong, some of them were right, but it seems like these days a lot of the music that's out there that's popular is just talking about awful and ridiculous, inappropriate things, and our kids are listening to it. And so that's kind of why I reached out, because I thought this is actually a message we can get behind. It's common sense, it's catchy, it's good music. You kind of answer the question that you ask in another verse or part of the song. So I'm going to read this whole thing, and then I just want us to talk about it just a little bit, because I think it's very poignant. It says, "But the truth is dead, somebody said, and now there ain't no black and white. You live your life, I'll live mine, and if it feels right, then it's right. That sounds nice, but where's the line? Where's the standard? What's the standard? Who decides? If it's your truth versus mine, and if I say something like," and then you go into the chorus, "Boys are boys and girls are girls," or "Boys are boys, they can't be girls." That's a really philosophically wise section of that passage. We're talking about objective truth and morality. That's what we talk about here at FreeThinking Ministries a lot, and the subjectivity of like postmodern philosophy. Is this something that's in your mind, or is it just did it just come out naturally where you're like, oh, actually, as I follow the logical progression, this is where it goes? Or are you somebody that likes to read philosophy and things of that nature, and you intertwined it in your song?
Yeah, I think that there is no neutrality. I think that we live in a world of competing worldviews. So if I hold to a biblical worldview, and I'm arguing for that biblical worldview, and you hold to an atheist worldview or whatever it is, we're gonna clash. And then by what standard do we appeal to? And I would say that anybody who doesn't hold to a biblical worldview has to borrow our standard. They have to borrow our biblical worldview to build a case for why we shouldn't say something or do something, or why we should do something or say something. I don't think they have any ground on their own to stand on. They don't have their own standard to appeal to. That, I guess that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, again, philosophically astute and definitely correct. And I love that it's just kind of a kernel of that philosophy that can get into people's minds and actually make them think critically about the world around them in a song. And I think that's a really important aspect of that, because you said some things like I don't know if you've heard of Frank Turek, but he says things like he's an apologist, and he says, atheists steal from God, they steal their morality from God, they have no standard. And then one of the things that I talk about is that we have different definitions of what love is. And if love is just love, then we can define whatever it is. But love actually has a definition. It's not just affirmation. It is caring for somebody more than yourself according to the objective truth of reality. So like you've got kids, I've got kids. If a kid wants to touch the hot stove, they might not feel loved when we arm bar and block them, and say, no, you can't touch that. But they're actually being loved. Just because what they want to do is being told that they can't do it doesn't mean that's not loving. That's what I get from that verse is once you start to break that down and you start to even look at what seemed 20 years ago to be obvious truth, that boys are boys and girls are girls. When you start to break that down, then you start to lose tether to reality. And so you see all these people that are depressed, and I think partly because, and I think the psychology bears this out. Abigail Schreier's book Irreversible Damage bears this out, that because they're untethered to reality, they have nothing to base their own lives on, that sort of thing. And so honestly, I don't know if this is what you intended with the song, but those lines there, I think it's just a kernel of, oh, actually, this makes logical sense for people who are listening to it. It's hard to argue. It's hard to argue. People might get mad, but it's hard to argue, right?
Yeah, that's definitely the intent.
Yeah. All right. So thank you for your time in this conversation. It's been good. I hope people listen to the song "Boys Are Boys and Girls Are Girls" by My Friends Call Me Dom. That's where people can find you on Spotify and Instagram, right? It's all smushed together. My Friends Call Me Dom, right?
All together. Yep.
Yeah. So we'll put a link in the description here to both your Instagram and to some Spotify. Are there other places that people can find your music other than the Instagram and Spotify that they could look at?
Yeah, it's out everywhere. Anywhere that people like to stream their music, whichever you prefer, it's up.
So along with that, you've got music everywhere. I've noticed you got a lot of songs out on Spotify. That's my platform of choice when I listen to music. It's a lot of people's. This is the most popular one as you look on Spotify for obvious reasons. Are there any other songs that to you it's just kind of a labor of love? So anybody listening to this if you would suggest them go listen to other music that you've created? Do you have other songs that you're like, man, I wish people would listen to this one because my heart, my mind and my comedy and truth went into this one, but my truth and my heart went into this other one. I'd love for people to listen to that one.
Yeah, I wrote a song called "Bloom" for my daughters. I think that any of the other songs you listen to, you're going to hear I'm not just the guy who's trying to stick a finger in everybody's eye. I did it because of what I love. I love my family. You know, I love my wife and my children. I love truth. So I would say that song or any of them, really.
All right. Yeah, so check him out on Spotify. My Friends Call Me Dom. It's all one word, smushed together. It's good music. It has become a playlist at our house. My kids, I was telling you this before we got on the interview. My girls love the music, and they're so excited that I'm talking to you today, too. They're like, oh, I'm so excited. You get to talk to the guy who made this song. They love that song and your music in general. So it's safe music for the family. It's catchy. It's good for the kids. You don't have to worry about what the next song is that's going to come up and pop up when you play your music. So we really want to plug that here at FreeThinking Ministries, because we think that art is part of how God speaks. It's objective reality, and truth comes through in art, and you are exemplifying that well. So thank you, Dom, for getting together with us today and for your desire to honor God with your music.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you.
All right. God bless.